I'm the cultural representative of Darebin Aboriginal Land Council, and Darebin, like all of our land councils, under our Land Rights Act of 1983, we are the cultural authority and the guardians and custodians of lands within our boundaries. And I'm here this morning to welcome you to country. And the welcome to country is not a welcome to Australia. Within Australia, we've got many Aboriginal lands, many Aboriginal nations, and we refer to our lands as country. So it's always a welcome to the lands you're gathered on. And this morning, the lands you're gathered on traditionally belong to the Cabrogal people. And it's important to understand there's no traditional owners left in this area. It's important you understand. The Cabrogal are one of 29 tribes that make up the Eora Nation. The boundaries of the Eora Nation start from the ocean, and they're surrounded by three of Australia's most beautiful rivers. We've got the Hawkesbury River, the Nepean River, and the Georges Rivers. In between those three mighty and beautiful rivers, there were 29 tribes that make up the Eora Nation. And the name of the tribe we're gathered on here this morning is Cabrogal. Cabrogal, or Cabra, like Cabramatta. It's a place of the cobra or cabra is a mangrove worm. It's a mangrove worm. This is what it means, Cabramatta. Cobrical. So they're the mangrove worm people. It's one of their totems. So it's always an honour for me to perform this welcome to country ceremony. It's a ceremony we've been doing since the beginning of time because that's how long we've been here for. It's not a ceremony we've just invented to cater for white people, even though it pays a lot more now than it does traditionally. It's disrespectful for us as Aboriginal people to walk on each other's lands unless we're welcomed on each other's lands. And when you're welcomed on the country, we have an expectation that you walk on country with respect. No different than welcoming strangers to your house. You expect them to respect your property and everything that's in your house? It's the same when you're welcomed on the country. So I thank you for having me here. It's always an honour. And by having me here, you become a part of the rejuvenation of our tradition and culture back on country. So thank you. And welcome. Welcome to the lands of the Cabrogal people.
I'm delighted to have everyone here in Penrith today to celebrate this official sod turning for this fantastic new facility that we'll see within the Penrith area, which will provide the jobs of the future for our local community. I just want to acknowledge the CEO of REST, Vicky O'Doyle, and also Steve O'Connor from Baring. But also, as you can see behind me, the Premier of New South Wales, the Deputy Premier, Minister Graham, and also the member for Leppington, Nathan Haggerty. This just shows you the importance of ventures like this, how we can bring jobs to Western Sydney. Penrith Council has always had a vision of providing housing, but also jobs that go with those houses. And it's an important part for us to ensure that this work continues to happen within this corridor. Penrith has 37% of the remaining employment lands in the Penrith in the Sydney Basin. So it's important that people come on board, come down to Penrith, because we're looking for your business. I want to thank the state government for their investment through stages 1 and 2 of Memray Road. Will help facilitate some of the work that is going on at the moment. And I look forward to construction starting soon and then going through to completion in the near future. I'd also just like to thank our community of Penrith, the people who have supported us all the way through to ensure and are pushing to make sure that we have our local jobs. So I'll leave it at that, but I'd like to invite the Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns, to the stage to say a few words. Chris.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Todd. It's great to be here with you, and it's great to be here with Vicky from REST and Stephen from Bearings, and of course my parliamentary colleagues, Nathan, John, Minister for Roads, and the Deputy Premier of New South Wales, the Minister for Western Sydney, the Minister for Education, Prue Car, who's passionate about this community, grew up in this community, raising a family out here, and is a 24/7 advocate for the people of this part of the state, for the infrastructure they need, for a growing community. And I can promise you that Prue, behind closed doors and as a public advocate, is tireless in her advocacy for the millions of people that live west of Parramatta. That's the whole point here. There's 2 million people that live in Western Sydney. The population is expected to grow to 3 million people over the next 2 decades. And one of the reasons we won the last election, and one of the things we have focused relentlessly on, is to provide jobs and infrastructure for this fast-growing part of the country. One of the great things about today's announcement is it links together a major logistic and transport development, so great jobs for Western Sydney, with billions of dollars of investment for new infrastructure, particularly roads. If you look at Mamre Road, an investment of $290 million, if you think about this road as a single lane road for a long period of time, notwithstanding the fact that right around it there was development and homes and more people moving in, the single lane was in no way going to cope with the projected growth and infrastructure that we want to build in this part of the state. So the government is very proud, as part of Mamre Road Stage 1, to invest $290 million. It's not the end of it. We've also allocated $500 million for Stage 2, and this is part of a program of works that will see much needed infrastructure for this fast-growing part of the country. We know that you cannot have communities and housing without the essential infrastructure that these communities need and the jobs that they need. And this is, if you look at it, a jigsaw puzzle that we're trying to put together. If we can have jobs out here alongside new infrastructure, then families that build and buy houses in fast-growing new suburbs in Sydney don't have to navigate the streets of Sydney just to get to work, to see their family, to see their friends. And it's not a toll road either. I mean, there's a lot happening in New South Wales. I want to make it clear that the infrastructure work that we are laying down is for the future. It's not perfect, as you've seen with Metro over the last week. It can be a bit bumpy, but we are committed to building the infrastructure that this wonderful city needs. And in fact, it cannot grow without the roads, the public transport, the connective tissue that a city like Sydney desperately requires and deserves. And I'm going to pass over to John.
Thanks, Premier. It's a delight to be here today. Today's the day you can really see the plan coming together in the Mamre Road precinct. Roads and jobs both in motion as they come together and we build the future jobs in this precinct. This first stage of Mamre Road, with major construction starting next month, is a big step. It's $290 million. It'll move this road to being 4 lanes. We're building it in a way that will be built for the future to work towards further expansion, but it's a key project. But we're also here at Access Logistics, 90,000 square metres of industrial land coming online, jobs as well, built on this key road. It doesn't stop there. The state budget allocated $500 million of state money, as you've heard from the Premier, but also $500 million of Commonwealth money agreed alongside that. That's $1 billion into Mamre Road Stage 2. So you can really see the plan coming together today in this area. It is a big investment in the future. When we came to government, we've said we would change priorities and move away to invest in these key roads in Western Sydney. And today you can see the result of those investments. This will make a huge difference, not only to these areas, local jobs alongside these roads investments, but this precinct is at a scale where it's significant, not just for the city, not just for the state, but also for the nation. I'll hand to the Deputy Premier, Prue Carr.
The impact of the Mamre Road upgrade on unlocking job opportunities for those of us that live in Western Sydney, that cannot be underestimated. There is nothing more important to families living in Western Sydney than accessing employment opportunities for themselves and their children. In fact, Access Logistics is a great example of that, and why we always needed to upgrade Mamre Road. In the west of Sydney, we have experienced exponential growth in the past 10 to 20 years. But as we know, for those of us that have lived it, it was exponential housing growth without the investment in the necessary infrastructure and employment opportunities for the people that were building homes. Because young people need employment opportunities to stay and work and be able to live and recreate and enjoy their own local community. Too many people in Western Sydney have to get on toll roads to travel east in order to get employment, to pay for their mortgages, to feed their families. This is about turning that around. It's about making sure that we have the infrastructure leading to the employment so that we can realise the once in a lifetime opportunity of the Western Sydney Airport. The real reason why the people of Western Sydney are so excited about this airport is the job opportunities that it creates for our children. The next generation of kids in Western Sydney will be the first generation that can truly hope to work in their community. That will have so many incredible impacts on our communities that we, the generations before, have not experienced. So I'm really proud of our government investing so much in this upgrade, the support of Access Logistics, and I also just want to give a shout out to Penrith Council. They have been leading this work for decades on the investment into employment opportunities, holding governments to account, saying that Penrith was the place to be, making sure that there was a metro from the airport to St Mary's, which is shortly about to open. Without Penrith Council's advocacy, we would not be here. And on behalf of the communities that I represent, I say thank you to Council, and I'm really, really proud to be part of a government that's actually getting this done for the people of Western Sydney, as we said we would at the election.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Vicky Doyle, the CEO of Rest, and I welcome you all to a fantastic investment and our partner Bearings that we are working on this. I have the privilege of representing over 2 million Rest members, and this is an investment that we expect to generate fantastic returns, but equally, as the Premier and the Deputy Premier have talked about, create communities, jobs, and a whole precinct for Western Sydney region. We have more than 70,000 Rest members who are in this Southern Sydney region, and tens of thousands in this particular precinct. So we really welcome this development. The project is expected to deliver more than 850 jobs in the immediate term around construction and operations, and it is fantastic to have the upgrades, as the Premier talked about, to Mumray Road, which will really enable this to link quite directly over to where the airport is being developed. I'd like to thank Premier Minns, Deputy Premier Carr, Minister Graham, Mayor Carney and Nathan Hegarty MP for their attendance and support today. I'd also like to finish by thanking our partnership with Property Investment and Development Manager Bearings, our partners on this Access Logistics project, for their collaboration and their absolute special expertise. Thank you, everybody.
Wow, a few tough acts to follow for me, being last. Firstly, I'd love to thank the state government and the Premier for coming out today. And the announcement of this Mumray Road upgrade is a true testament to their partnership with industry, as we are the facilitators. We're the facilitators of jobs and trying to meet that 30-minute city target that the state government has at the moment. I'd also like to thank Mayor Carney as well for your continued support as we've tried to deliver jobs in Western Sydney throughout this LGA. This brings together an opportunity for industry to work again with state and local governments to try and realise the vision for Western Sydney. In terms of the asset, Access Logistics Park has sustainability at its core. We're changing the way that we want to develop industrial properties, and industrial properties are much more sophisticated than they used to be. We're bringing operational efficiency, innovative building design and market-leading and world-leading sustainability features into these developments. And you can see on the render behind us, we're creating something really special for people where they have amenity where they work and they have a fun working environment so they can actually feel well-being at work. As mentioned before, it's a 20-hectare site. There'll be 90,000 square metres of industrial space, which will be world-leading. We're looking to be flexible. We're going to cater for large-scale industrial developments, small-scale industrial developments, and be able to facilitate employment for a range of different types of businesses. And these businesses will actually be businesses that will support the local economy, support Western Sydney, and also support the government's housing targets, which industrial is a big part of. Industrial is really important for the state economy. It actually contributes $70 billion to the GDP, which is 18%. And it's really important that the government, as they've shown commitment today, fosters that, because it actually goes a long way into the growth of this great state. So once again, thank you very much for coming. Thank you to the state and local government for your support, and thank you for everyone to be here and sharing this fantastic day for us.
All right. Thank you. We're all happy to take questions.
We've been developing in this area for the last 20 years, and we've actually developed over 200 hectares up the road. We have probably an even split between light manufacturing, data centre operators, healthcare, so pharmaceutical facilities as well, and traditional warehouse and logistics. All of those groups in some way will have a hand in supporting what happens at the airport and the Aerotropolis, which is the cluster of industry that goes around the airport.
We're happy to directly link to airline business as well.
Could be airline businesses, could be maintenance businesses that support it, could be catering, so food type operations, whether that's cold store or freezer logistics as well.
It's everything. I'll jump in, Stephen. But we opened Winning the other day on Mamre Road, and I'm just told that Aspect Industrial had a major planning approval granted in the last month, and the statistics are huge. So of the major developments on Mamre Road, there's an additional 2,300 construction jobs and over 4,000 operational jobs. It's capital investment of $2.1 billion. There's more than 10 that are still being assessed by the council and by the New South Wales government, but you're talking about tens of thousands of jobs. And why wouldn't that be? You've got access to the new airport, Moorebank Intermodal. What we need to do to come to the party is get the approvals through quicker and invest in roads, and that's what today's announcement's about.